Warning, there may be explicit language in today's episode. Viewer discretion is advised.
Okay, I am having light issues because my the show just turned off, so I'm using my room light. Oh, there we go. Make a tray. Yeah, I know. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. But yeah, so Bryce is back and making his debut for Tailgate Talks. Mr. Brady Kincaid. Brady, how are we doing today?
Sirs, doing great. Absolutely
and
jazzed to be here.
Sir, but
he's sparked right now.
Sparked, but for context, and another fact for people that watch this show, not the first person in his family that has been on this show, because he is cousins with Jillian Fisher, who we interviewed back in February. So
go watch it.
Yeah, in fact, I remember I told Jillian to FaceTime you when she was in the studio. She did. I remember that.
Yeah.
But all right. So last week, Bryce with Ickes, we talked about Jordan Love possibly. I knew this was going to get done, but there was stuff going on, of course, with Jordan Love's contract and everything. And we'll make it quick because we really got to get to the Pirates because we're mad. But yeah, Jordan Love did indeed get his bread. He really, really got his bread.
He got paid.
He got paid. As I try to find the exact details on the contract, as I was not prepared because shocker. So
if I cared, I would have had it pulled up.
I believe it averaged out to about $55 million a year.
Yeah, something like that.
4 year, $220 million. So that would be 55 a year.
Yeah, as of course I'm not prepared, and of course my laptop does not want to work because of course. But yeah, I saw this coming. They were going to get it done. It was just a matter of when. So I'm glad he got his money. $220 million. Contract extension. So
man, $220 million to lose to the Lions or Vikings year after year after year. What a sign.
Hey, I like it for Packers fans.
Mm-hmm.
Ends this few years they've had with a lot of uncertainty. You know, they finally decided they're going to invest in their QB. They trust him. If I'm a Packers fan, I'd be happy with it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, honestly speaking,
and so much uncertainty.
Not saying that the Packers fans are the luckiest fans. That obviously has to be either the Chiefs right now or just the Steelers overall. But they have been very fortunate to sign these quarterbacks that just end up playing for what feels like ever.
Yes.
And they all somehow, for the most part, manage to be MVPs every single time. So good for them. Yeah. Good for him. Go get that bag and lose to JJ and the Vikings. I'm kidding.
The funny part about it is, though, the funny thing is last year he was eligible for that 5th-year rookie option, and they could have got him. I mean, he had only started one game before that, so it's definitely understandable, but his price tag would have been much, much lower if they would have made this decision just a year sooner. But they got him now for a while.
They got the guy.
Yep. And another contract extension was Tua Tagovailoa. 4 years, $212.4 million. Tyreek Hill was very happy on Twitter because they are boys. But yeah, so Tua and Jordan Love got their money. And now let's just bury the Pirates for the rest of the show. We do
I
have
know.
another reaction thing. Wait, hold on. Actually, should we get the overreaction thing out of the way so we just stick with the Pirates?
That's up to you, man. I mean,
It's up
I
to
don't.
you.
They're already losing 2-0, getting no hit right now. So
You're the captain
Yeah.
of the ship here.
Yeah, so we'll do that, and then we'll just get all the NFL stuff out of the way, and then we'll get going. But yeah, so
Sure.
let's just get this overreactions out of the way. Bryce, last week very successful because probably the best viewed show in a while.
what do we get?
You can go ahead and look it up. I don't really usually like talking about views on the air. Just I don't know, just seems cocky, even if they're not like.
I completely understand.
Yeah, even though it's not like hundreds of views, like I still don't like to talk about it. But yeah. So all right, this is going to be NFL overreactions. So just like last week, I will say a statement.
Get it.
These guys will say yes or no. Brady, I did explain it to you earlier. Do you have any more questions?
No, seems pretty simple.
You want me to go? I'll go first this week, and Brady goes second, or how do you want to do that? It's up to you.
That doesn't matter. I guess we can just go Bryce first, and then
Okay.
just go from there. All right, number one.
Okay.
Josh Allen is overrated.
I don't understand. I mean, I do, but I don't. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's overrated. I think he's, if any, you know what? You know what? Just for the sake of this, I'll say if this is the middle and this is properly rated, he's leaning more on the overrated side. He's got to be more careful with the football. But like we've said weeks and weeks ago, it's not so much him that's losing them all these games. Like, for example, the one that I think of is the Chiefs won in overtime. They got down there and scored on all these explosive plays, but the defense just, I mean, it is Patrick Mahomes. He makes magic happen, but it's not like it was his fault that they lost. Like, I would say they just have super high expectations for him. I mean, being
Whoa, time out. We do have a Pirates trade.
oh, please for the sake of humanity, tell me it's good.
I've never heard of these names before. A source confirms that the Pirates have acquired left-handed pitcher Jalen Beeks from the Rockies for left-handed pitcher Luis Peralta. That's it.
Why? Why, dude? What is the point?
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
So I'm just going to say no. I don't think he's over. I'm going to say yes. He's a little bit overrated in my opinion, and leave it at that.
Brady.
Overrated. I guess it really just depends on who you're listening to. Like, a lot of people will say, Josh Allen is, the best quarterback in the league and all that type of stuff. And, I don't know. I don't think they're right. I think he's more of a top 5 to 7 guy.
Fair. That's fair. And also, if you guys did not watch last week, I'm like the moderator. I'm just asking the questions. If you want to hear my full thoughts the next time we do them, then put it in the comments and I will contribute, but I just ask the questions. Okay, next. And Bryce, you are going to love this one. And I know EJ is going to say some things. JJ McCarthy will be overrated.
I'm not even sure if he sees the field this year. I mean, the kid, let me put this into perspective for you, okay? For you guys.
Okay.
I'm 21 years old. My birthday was on January 21st. He was born January 20th, the same year I was born. The dude is a day older than me. I could not go out there and read I'm not a trained quarterback either, but I couldn't go out there and read a defense, even if they were sitting in the most basic coverage in the world. Who knows? I obviously I'll have bias towards it either way, but it's hard to argue that he won't be somewhat successful in a Kevin O'Connell system. I don't know if that means they wins a crap ton of Super Bowls, but depending on how his development goes through with O'Connell, I mean, it'd be nice if he was sitting behind, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, somebody that was really very, very good quarterback. I'm not sure if I was a first-year rookie, if I'd want to sit behind Sam Darnold. Is that their starting quarterback now? Yeah. I don't know if I'd really take many tips and pointers from Sam Darnold, but I don't know. People were going to say what they want, like Brady said about Josh Allen. Let the boy cook.
Yeah.
Let him do his things. He'll be fine. He also has a natty under his belt, which is huge. Just throw that out there.
Brady, what do we think?
I mean, 100% he's overrated and underrated right now because we haven't seen anything of him in, a professional league. So I can't comment on whether he's overrated or not. I mean, sure, I guess I'd lean that way because we haven't seen anything of him. I mean, I think if thrown into the mix this year, he could make something happen. The Vikings have, in my opinion, a top 10 line. They have a pretty good, protection, decent receivers. Justin Jefferson, of course, probably the one guy every team wants. So, I mean, yeah, right now, sure, he's overrated just because we need to see what he can do, outside of college.
Let's put it this way too, Mikey, just to expand off what I said. Let's put it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Mullins was able to win them games last year without Jefferson.
Yeah.
And I would argue, I think everybody, well, not everybody. There's some people that are going to disagree just for the sake of, being themselves. But I would say J.J. McCarthy is better than Nick Mullins could ever be. But that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to expand on that. I don't want to get fried on TikTok later tonight for an opinion.
My God, yeah. All right, next. So for context, this was from one of the interviews that Mike Evans did. He said he was considering signing with the Kansas City Chiefs. So this next one is Mahomes to Evans would have been the best year of Mike Evans' career.
No, not a chance. Dude, okay. I would say 2 for sure. To be his second best year for sure. Because he had the GOAT throwing to him.
Yep.
That's all I gotta say. I mean, Mahomes is probably second for sure. It's definitely not Baker Mayfield. I think we can agree on that. It's not Baker Mayfield.
Baker.
But I would say that now it all depends. Like in the future, say Mahomes becomes, I don't know, say he becomes a 6-time Super Bowl champion and he starts to push up on all of Brady's numbers and everything, then there's some argument for, yeah. But right now, nah, he had the GOAT thrown to him. There's no debate on that.
Brady?
Mahomes to Evans being the best season of his career, I would say that would be true. I don't think it would be, honestly. He's been in the league now for 10 years. So if he were to go there this year, I mean, he's got multiple seasons of over 75 receptions, over 1,000 yards. What do you have? I think he had over 11 or 12 touchdowns last year. I mean, guy's been very solid his whole career with a couple very stellar seasons mixed in there. I'm not sure of the exact years, but I know his last 5-6 years have been, pretty amazing. And, he's 10 years in the league. He's in his 30s. I don't see it, if it were to happen, being his best season just because, he's been in the league a long time.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right, next a guy we have already mentioned.
Just lost my light.
I keep doing that. It's all right. Tua Tagovailoa has hit his ceiling and can't go any farther up.
I mean, it's tough. I wouldn't. It's tough to get much better than the fastest running back and fastest wide receiver in the league to throw to. I mean, if you send Tyreek Hill on a fly, not many people are going to hang with him, especially in man. And if he can dump it off to A-Chain and he just goes and does his thing, like we saw last year, whenever he cooked many fantasy owners that did not expect him to drop a 60 piece. But I mean, you're throwing to Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, then you have A-Chain. Didn't they make a running back signing in the offseason? I don't follow NFL that much to know who got traded where.
I think so.
Either way, I mean, he's throwing to some good receivers. He's throwing to arguably the fastest running back in the league. I mean, I don't know if, per se, his offensive stats could get better. I mean, obviously, if his defense brings it up and they start to win more games and start pushing for a Super Bowl, then yeah, he's obviously his ceiling's gonna look a lot higher. But offensively, I'm not sure you can get much better than what he's got right now.
Interesting. Brady, what are we thinking?
Tua, I mean, as far as his ceiling, as it was described, it's raised every year since he's come into the league. I did just search it up here, but I'm just going to go off his touchdown count from since 2020. 11, 16, 25, 29. Gradual increase. He's improved. His interceptions have also grown slightly, though, from 5 in 2020 and slowly going up to 14 last year. But, they've grown confidence in him. They let him sling it. There's a reason for those numbers. So this might not be the highest his ceiling has gotten, but I can see this being about as close as it's going to get, at least so far. 4,600 yards, 29 touchdowns last year. I mean, the guy's ceiling is up there, and it's slowly gone up since he's been in the league, and he's not that old. So I'm going to say no. He hasn't hit it yet, but he's getting close.
And yeah, that brings up a good point as well too. Like, he could continue to go up, like he said, but the problem is, I mean, we all witnessed what happened on national TV whenever he got slammed to the turf, that whole episode where he started to,
Yeah.
So if that happens again, I can't imagine the dude's going to choose to keep playing football and run the chance of having CTE or something worse the rest of his life over being a father or something like that. I mean, maybe. But I couldn't imagine if he has, say, one or two more of those serious concussions that he doesn't seriously think about that being the last time he throws a football.
Right. All right.
So his ceiling could be swayed by that.
All right. Next. Jayden Daniels will be better than Caleb Williams.
I'll go first on that one.
Go for it.
Yes. Basically, I'm just going to get out of the way. I am an LSU fan. So,
okay.
Jayden Daniels, I've really enjoyed to watch him. And I also did enjoy, not a huge Pac-12 watcher, but when he was at Arizona State, I did enjoy to watch those games, high scoring. But his time at LSU and his time in college as a career, I feel like he's been a better player than Caleb Williams. I know that's unpopular, but over 12,000 yards passing and over 4,000 yards rushing in his college career. He is one of, I believe, 2 or 3 people to ever do that. And the guy is so far unplagued by injury. And I don't know. I think he's a guy with a good mindset and even better skill set. So, yeah, I think he'll be better than Caleb Williams, who I think is a little bit of a head case. Kind of, reminds me of Spencer Rattler a little bit. But, yeah, that's my opinion on it.
Yeah, I think that's a very solid take right there, to be honest with you. I think they're both in situations, maybe they both have flaws with their situation. I mean, the Bears are the Bears. You know what's going to happen there. They had Justin Fields and couldn't make it work. So, we'll see what happens. I mean, they did make a lot of trades and had in my opinion, a top 5 draft. But
Absolutely.
it also goes over to the Commanders with Jayden Daniels now. Sam Howell was there and put up crazy numbers last year, but was sacked 50-something times. Just because they brought in Eckler and made a few other defensive moves, that didn't fix the main problem, which is protecting the quarterback. Now, Jayden Daniels is definitely a better runner than Sam Howell, but I think what's going to happen is, like Brady said, Caleb Williams is, in my opinion, going to be the biggest bust of all time. I think he's a 5-year. I think, no offense to Johnny Manziel, because that guy was one heck of a football player and he was so much fun to watch. But I think Caleb Williams ends up being like that, just backup, never actually makes it to the league. He's got too much outside going on instead of just football.
And throw
the rock.
Another thing about Jayden Daniels, this last season, his senior season at LSU, they were breaking records like, passing yards in a season, receiving yards in a season for 2 receivers, passing touchdowns. They were breaking records that were just set by Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase, and Brian Thomas. Terrace Marshall. Brian Thomas was just there last year, Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors, who, I'm not going to argue that they're any better than what Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase were. And I'm not going to argue that the offensive scheming was any better than what it was with Joe Brady when he was at LSU. So a lot of that credit, I think, needs to go to Jayden Daniels, who I'm not saying is better than Joe Burrow, but they were breaking records by what's considered a prolific, college football team that, I don't think we've seen a team that dominant as 2020's or 2019's LSU team in a very long time, and they were breaking their records just last year. So I think Jayden Daniels has exactly what it takes to be better than Caleb Williams and a lot of other people in the NFL.
All right, so this is the last one. And I want to preface this, ladies and gentlemen, that I did not tell them these questions. I said, I will tell you when we're shooting. So they're just hearing this for the first time. So last one, and this is going to be a perfect segue for our training camp talk. And that is, the Steelers should be worried about George Pickens.
I think it's if they let him go. I think he wants the ball. He wants to be the guy that makes the plays. He wants to play that tough Georgia football and in Pittsburgh. And it's perfect for the division we're in to play that type of football. The problem is, if they're not getting him the ball, we saw it last year. He's going to start giving up on plays and not going to play to his full potential. But you start feeding him the ball, get him going, get him hot, get him playing. He's an energy guy. If he's not getting the ball, the energy's low. If he's getting the ball, the energy's going to explode. So I think that the Steelers' best course of action, and I'll go into a little runaround of it. I think the best course of action is start Russell Wilson, understand that he's not going to take you to a Super Bowl, pivot to Justin Fields, let him start to grow with connections to this team and this offensive line, and then start feeding the rock to Pickens, and then watch us make the playoffs, and then get walloped by the Bills again.
The standard is the standard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pittsburgh fans are so excited. They're like,
oh wait.
Watch it this year.
One thing I dislike about our fan base is all we care about is preserving Tomlin's. you know, never having a losing season, whatever. It's not enough. And I'm not saying get rid of Tomlin by any means, but we got to push for more, and we have to do it in a more aggressive way. And I like the way we drafted this year. I have high hopes for, what this team will look like in a few years. As far as George Pickens is concerned, I don't know. He's a young guy. He's third year coming into it. And I think he's still gaining an understanding of the kind of patience it takes, in this league, because you got to develop your team and you got to, work through and, it's, a totally different world in college where you're only planning to spend 3 years here and, you want to win a national championship and whatever, and you can bitch for the ball and, face less pushback from your coaches and stuff. But, he's got Tomlin now who does not play that kind of game with him. He won't. And Pickens he's learning. He's, still a young guy, still figuring it out. And I think he'll, start to understand that it's not all about him. And, yeah, at least that's my hope.
Mm.
So,
Steelers fans, in a way, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was going to move on. Go ahead.
Steelers fans, in a way, are starting to get to be like Penn State fans. No offense to any of my Penn State football fans out there, but you can only go 10-2 and miss the playoffs and play for some New Year's Six bowl that nobody's going to care about because it's not the playoffs so long before people really start to get on the coach's tail. I mean, It is a surprise to me that James Franklin is still there with all of his 9-3 and 10-2 seasons.
Yeah, and it's the same with the Steelers. You can only win 9 games and lose a wild card so many times before people start to get PO'd about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, to the people on TikTok or things that have been said in the past about me, did you guys think I was going to bring up Kenny? It's kind of like I said I was done talking about it. But nah. But, so training camp, and this is pretty much like the only piece of thing like I want to talk about, because I do want to save like a good chunk of Steelers talk for when we have Justin McGonigal, the owner of Steeler Nation, on August 21st. But so the new quarterbacks coach, and I'm gonna see if I can pronounce his name. So give me 1 second. I believe it's like Zachariah. Where the heck is his name?
All right. While you find that, I'm just going to throw this out here real quick about the Steelers. I think any Steelers fan out there, for the most part, we got to kind of lower our expectations a little bit. We brought in the offensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons. Or no, not the offensive coordinator. He was the head coach. Whatever it was, like I said, don't really watch football. I just saw it on Twitter whenever we traded for him or picked him up. He had Bijan Robinson and couldn't do anything last year. And they lost because of him, because his offensive play calling is horrid. And now we're going to expect him to run the Steelers offense? I don't know. In 2 years, we're going to have a debate. Who is worse? The last guy that we won't mention that was the Steelers offensive coordinator, or the guy we just brought in?
Matthew L. Canada.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and what's this guy's name? I can't friggin' think right now.
What's his name? Arthur
Smith. Yeah. All right. Get ready for the great debate in
My
5
bad,
years when
Mikey,
people are
on the
going
F word there.
back and forth.
What'd you say, Brady?
I'm telling you, Matt Canada was
My
better.
bad on that.
What'd you say?
I just slipped one out there real quick.
What'd you slip out?
Yeah, nothing. Moving on.
Was it? Wait, whoa. No. Was it an F-bomb?
More like a firecracker, more than a bomb. It was subtle.
Brother, you weren't there for the March Madness special. We'll see you in 2 minutes.
But yeah, they really need to lower their. We really, as a collectively, I mean, I'll identify with the Steelers for this because I watched them very little. because I just can't get into NFL football. But I think we need to lower the expectations a little bit. We're getting a little too excited. So
it's every year. It really is. But no,
and that's
real
what
quick,
happens when you win so many Super Bowls. You get excited for the season because you expect them to win year after year.
I want them to win the Super Bowl. I want to put that out there right now. Like I want them to do it. But they're the Steelers. So and I'm talking about the now Steelers. So I don't know. But no, so Zachariah, I believe is his name. If I got that wrong, I'm sorry. Azani got into a heated exchange with George Pickens. And that kind of prompted to the question that I added. So here's the thing. If you remember the wide receiver coach last year, Jackson, he would let it go. He would let this stuff go. And it's kind of one of the reasons why they got Allen Robinson to be that vocal leader in that room to keep everybody in line. Of course, Jackson was fired. And then Azani came in. So I'm going to say this right now. I think he's going to get that wide receiver room under control. I really, I do. If you're bringing this energy into training camp, then I don't know. I think he'll get it under control. All right, now I got to give Brady his privileges back. I don't know if that was 2 minutes or not, but I don't care. Brady, you can come back. But
Mikey, it gets worse for us Pirates fans.
yeah, that's next.
Jazz
Brady.
Chisholm has hit 2 home runs tonight.
All jokes.
All right. I gotta. First of all, Michael Kopech going to the Dodgers. Chaz Chisholm is a New York Yankee. Tommy Pham is back with the Cardinals, and Jesse Winker. Wait, where did he get traded to? Was it the? No, he was on the Nationals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can't remember who he was traded to, but anyway.
Astros just got the pitcher from Blue Jays.
Yeah, Kikuchi. So Ben Cherington. Do you know?
Leave your keys on the desk tomorrow morning. We're tired of you.
Cherington. Do you know what the word sell means?
That's all he knows is sell, sell, sell. We never buy.
I know.
Do you want to buy this pencil, Mikey? I'll give it to you for a good price. And by a good price, in Ben Cherington's idea, I'll give you Paul Skeens, Jared Jones, and Mitch Keller for this pen.
No. So I have a point. Hold on.
Sorry, I can't stand watching us lose because our freaking organization is intolerable.
So I say, because I obviously know he knows that's all he knows, but in selling, you know you can say no, right? Just gonna put that out there. And I know you guys are gonna be confused in the comment section. Hold on. He knows he can say no to selling, though that's all he does. That is correct. Now, buying. Do you know what the word yes is? Do you? Bryce, do you know what I'm trying to say here?
Yeah, I do. And I had a thought for you.
Go ahead.
Here's a little thinker for you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If you were Ben Cherington, okay? You see the team that we have now, you understand how it's going, what we need, and the changes we made. Would you be willing to get rid of 5 of our top 15 prospects to bring in 2 MLB-ready bats that'll carry us to the playoffs and 1 bullpen guy that'll shut people down for a World Series? Even though the next 5 years will be just rebuilding again, would you give up all that talent for a World Series right now? I believe actually Cody Duncan posted that on Twitter. It was something to that effect.
Shout out Cody, great guy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I saw that and I thought about it for a minute. I'm like, I'm bringing that to the show tonight. That was a great thought.
Yeah, let me tell you, he had some great thoughts when we had him on the show last year.
Would you do it?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
I'm completely okay with that because listen, I understand you're going to have to rebuild for 5 years. We've been rebuilding for 40. 5 more years, I can deal with that till we make it back to maybe the playoffs again. That's okay as long as we get a World Series. Pittsburgh needs a championship, man. They just need one. It doesn't matter what sport. They just need another one.
You know, I don't know, man. I'm so tired of just the not trying at the deadline. And I know what people are going to say. Bob needs to spend money. Bob needs to spend money. Yeah, I know. And guess what? When he does spend money, nothing happens still. Guys, listen, I know Key Brian Hayes is struggling, but guess what? Hear me out. He paid Key Brian Hayes. He paid Brian Reynolds. He paid Mitch Keller. Are they like contracts the Dodgers would give you? No, but still, he paid those guys, and nothing is happening at the deadline. You have to buy if you are serious. I don't know how many times we can say it, but guess what? Let me tell you this. I know some people, and I can tell you this right now. The Pirates were interested in Chaz Chisenhome, but they thought other players were better than Chaz, so they walked away from him. Whatever. They have walked off of Taylor Ward. Now, that could change, but they did. Then they were interested in Tommy Pham, and I know nobody wants Tommy Pham because he's old, and yet they couldn't even beat the Cardinals to it.
Here's another thought for you. Straight up.
My mic was off.
No, we heard you.
Yeah, we got it.
Straight up, right now. Say this offer comes in, okay? Straight up. You can have Ronald Acuna Jr. or I don't know. You can have Ronald Acuna Jr. right now for Paul Skeens. Straight up.
No, because Acuna's out for the year.
But you're going to get him at a lower price. All right, I'll change it. Not Skeens because Acuna's out for the year. Jared Jones.
Yes.
Right now.
Yes.
Like on the spot.
Yes. Yes. I
But
would.
the problem is the Pirates are the best team in the league at finishing runner-up to get a guy at the trade deadline. Supposedly, we finished second to getting Jazz. I'm going to guarantee you, once all that comes out, I haven't looked into it, our trade is going to be we get Jazz and we give up probably our 20th best prospect and our third best prospect and some cash equivalents or something like that. That's how it always seems to be. We just don't want to give up our guys in the farm system. I mean, the Pirates have if there was a farm system World Series, the Pirates would be back to back World Series champions.
Yep.
With as many guys as we buy for the farm, you would think that we're just loaded. And we just send all these guys to the league and they're all so talented. Of all the guys that we've called up last year, Triolo, G1 Bay, Connor Joe, you can correct me if I'm wrong. None of those guys should see the field every single day.
So there was a trade today. There's two. Obviously, the one we mentioned earlier, which I don't really know much about these guys, so I'm not going to really comment on any takes. But we did trade away Quinn Priester today. Here's the thing. It was for Nick York.
From
I
the
like the
Red Sox.
Yeah. Sorry, from the Red Sox. Listen,
He's
I personally would have gave Priester another chance. However, hear me out. Luis Ortiz beat him out. And I don't hate it. But here's the thing. you need MLB ready bats. Again, like the trade. But he's already reporting to Indianapolis. So I know there's guys on the roster that we can, but Bryce, to close out pretty much the show, can you name 3 trades that the Pirates could do right now that are realistic to get MLB ready bats that would fix the problems?
I mean, this late, it's almost impossible because all the guys that we were targeting that are somewhat at a lower price are gone. Like Jazz, for example, he was not having he was having a good year. He wasn't having a year that he usually has. He's gone. Lane Thomas from the Nationals, the dude just hits. He was having a solid season. Can't get him. Everybody says getting Rocker is going to be too much. Okay, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Athletics aren't super serious about winning either.
Right.
So I would think that if I was a manager and they said that you could propose a trade right now, and I would be willing, my trade would be, I'd get Rocker from the Athletics. I'll throw a big trade in for you, just one big one, and maybe one little one. I'd get JJ Bleday and Brett Rocker, and I would give them, now, hold on a second, bear with me. I would give them Lonnie White Jr. out of the farm system. I'd give them G1 Bay, and I would give them Mike Burrows for that. JJ Bleday is a career above 250 hitter. He's a Pennsylvania guy, or was. He was born in raised in Titusville till he started pursuing. Brett Rocker has 24 home runs right now. He's batting 298. That's 2 MLB ready bats, both in the outfield. One can DH, so Kutch doesn't have to be DH night in and night out. And that fixes the problem. I think Rowdy Tellez is perfectly fine at first when he needs a break. I mean, it pains me to say this, but Yasmani Grandal could play first base, and he looked decent at it last night.
Ooh, you just reminded me, and I'll get this out of the way real quick. They did win the series against the Cardinals. They lost the series against the Diamondbacks, and their one game they did win against the Diamondbacks was close. They won 6-5. And as of right now, against the Astros, let me refresh my page. Top of the 7th, we did score. Yasmani Grandal did hit a home run, so it is 2-1 Astros right now in the 7th. So, I mean, I would trade Rowdy right now while he's hot, but I would understand why keeping him. But here's the thing: let me ask you this, Bryce. And this could be risky. However, he was just placed on waivers. Why don't we have a reunion with Josh Bell?
He's been hitting.
So I was about to say. That's what I was just about to say.
I think
Familiar guy, power hitter. The only downside to getting him right now is he'll be a free agent after the season. So we'd be renting him. If we plan to extend him or sign him for some more time, sure. But yeah, Josh Bell would be great because Rowdy Tellez has been, in one word, kind of a disaster.
Well, this summer he's been cooking. This summer he has been cooking. But I can understand the hesitancy of not wanting to keep him around. And you might as well trade him while he's not hot, but seems like pretty reliable when you put him at the plate to pitch hit. So
yeah.
Here's a thought too. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm just gonna say, I'd like to see Josh Bell come back. He's a proven hitter. Been with the Pirates. He was with the Pirates for 4 years previously. Just a good player, good guy to have at first base. But I don't like that he will be, a free agent after the season. That we're already coming up on the deadline.
And he has been hot as of late, but here's my thought. He's not a guy that I think you'd bring in and would put you to the next step. Now, like
Yeah.
you said, Rowdy Tellez is hot right now, okay? If he stays hot through the rest of July and all of August, unfortunately the deadline's up. If you had the chance right now to get Vlad, okay, this is for Vlad. You're giving Rowdy Tellez and you're giving a top 5 farm system guy for Vlad Guerrero Jr. to be your first baseman through the rest of his contract, and then you're going to have to trade him because there's no way Bob Nutting is paying him what he wants.
You want to know who one of the guys I'd throw in there? And this might be a hot take.
Mitch Jeb.
Henry Davis.
Yeah, I'm about. Last time I said this with, I forget who I said it about. I'm about ready to write him off. He started tearing. It was Rowdy actually earlier in the year, right before he got hot. I said I'm ready to write this guy off. Who even is this? He got hot. So I just, there needs to be some sort of trying to make it right. Even if you go get one guy, say they make one trade for an outfielder. Say they get Blade and not Rocker. Rocker's obviously the better option, but say they get Blade. Okay. That's not going to put them to the next level, but that could get them into the playoffs potentially. And then if they get hot through the playoffs, maybe make a championship, not the World Series, but maybe make the conference championship or something like that. I don't think it's called the conference championship. It's called the I'm really
NLCS.
blanking now. Yeah.
NLCS.
Yeah. They'd make that. But I don't know, man. I think it's depending on what happens, because I don't know if you saw, we have a tough stretch of games. I've said it multiple times coming up. If we don't win at least the greater half of them, we got to win at least 60% of them. If not, you might as well call this season a Gonzo one and another failure by Ben Cherington. At least, and here's the thing, at least get them to the playoffs. Like just get somebody that would benefit them greatly, that would get them to the playoffs. Because last night, I don't know if you saw the lineup. I don't know how we won the game with the lineup that we had last night. I genuinely do not know how. We had 4 guys hitting that were under 200, and then 3 guys that were just barely scraping 230. Or not 3, 2. We had 6 guys that were batting under 250, and somehow, some way, they won.
Right. But yeah, so that is all the time we got. By the way, the Brewers did acquire Frankie Montas from the Reds, so there's that. But yeah, so
There
boys,
is always a big trade. There always is a big trade. One's going to happen. Some big prospects going to go to the Yankees, Dodgers, Mets, one of the teams that's competing for a spot. Irish fans are going to be forced to sit here and suck on their thumbs and wait for Cherington to do something. Newsflash, he's not going to. Just write the season off. I'm about to that point where it's just like, forget it. Just be done.
honestly, yeah. But yep, Bryce, Brady, thanks for coming on.
No problem.
But yeah, so for Zoom shows next week, boys, we're in the 7th inning before we go back into the studio. I cannot friggin' wait. Of course, 21st of August, Justin McGonigal, the owner of Steeler Nation, will be talking a lot of things Pittsburgh, and obviously mostly Steeler stuff because, Steeler Nation. But yeah, so Bryce, you are the basically emergency co-host when Alex or Dom isn't here. So, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, I know Dom has not been on in a while. Summer sucks. It sucks. Okay. We'll try to get back to normal whenever we can. I promise me.
I really hope.
I can't speak today.
I really hope everything that we said about them trading is wrong. And whenever this goes live and everybody can watch it, the Pirates traded for a bat. It's going to greatly help them. And then it's all going to be great and magical. But unfortunately, that probably will not happen. So I'm hoping this is like a reverse psychology thing and it does work and we get somebody. But with that being said, hope everybody has a wonderful night. Go Bucks, go Blue, and good night, America.